I never thought I'd end up catching the HOA president stealing from my disabled son, but if you'd told me a year ago that Brenda, suburban royalty with her perfect highlights and spotless white SUV, would end up handcuffed on our street, I might have laughed. Truth is, she picked the wrong mailbox, the wrong family, and definitely the wrong dad. You know what I mean? Maybe she should have checked who her neighbor actually was before calling 911, because after 25 years as a cop, I know every trick in the book, and I sure as hell wasn't about to let her get away with it. 15 years in Meadowbrook Gardens, just me and my boy Tyler after my wife passed, means you get used to a certain rhythm, the kind of place where people wave at you mowing the yard, and the HOA makes sure your mailbox is the right shade of beige. Tyler, he's 23 now, works part-time at Savamart, bags groceries 3 days a week, and I'll tell you, that job is his world. He doesn't bring home much, $1, $2.50 a month, but it's his. It's independence, it's pride. You can imagine how quick I noticed something was off when his July paycheck never came, and how he checked that mailbox every afternoon for a week, waiting on money he earned, convinced it'd show up any minute. But it didn't. Not that week, not the next. Savamart payroll swore they'd mailed it. Post office said nothing was flagged. Wait another week, they said. Okay. But when September hit and the August check vanished too, I came home to find Tyler at the kitchen table, crying over his insurance bill, afraid he'd lose coverage if he didn't pay by Friday. That's when my gut told me something was really wrong. One lost check, maybe. 2 in a row? Not a chance. Now, I know what it's like to chase dead ends. Called everyone, Savamart, the post office, even the supervisor. Each one confirming delivery, nothing flagged, nothing unusual. But then the post office lady, she says, sometimes people find ways around locks. If you suspect theft, get a camera. File a report. Theft. That word echoed in my mind as I stared at our old mailbox. Lock wasn't broken, but Tyler, being Tyler, admitted he sometimes left it open, just to check early. And right then, something clicked. Whoever was taking those checks wasn't just lucky. They were counting on my son's trust. Later, over meatloaf and a half-hearted nature documentary, Tyler let slip. Oh, Dad, I saw Miss Brenda getting mail from our box yesterday. She said she'd bring it over. I froze. Did she? No, he said, brow furrowed. I haven't seen her since. You ever have that moment when all the pieces fall into place, but you're not sure you want to believe it? That was me, standing in my kitchen, watching Brenda's lights across the street. Now, Brenda Morrison, 3 years HOA president, always sending those cheery neighborhood emails, always in your business, was exactly the kind of neighbor who seemed friendly, but whose smile never quite reached her eyes. I told myself, maybe she just forgot. Maybe it's innocent. But that feeling in my stomach said otherwise. Next morning, I walked across the street, just a dad in jeans and an old flannel, heart pounding harder than I'd ever admit. She answered in pink yoga pants, the very picture of suburban power. Morning, Brenda, I said, casual. Quick question, Tyler saw you at our mailbox Wednesday. Said you were grabbing our mail. Her smile twitched. Your mail? No, I don't think so. He must be confused. I pushed a little. He was specific, Wednesday, around 4. Now her arms folded. I'd never touch someone else's mail. That's illegal, you know. The way she went from nice to defensive, like flipping a switch, told me everything. An innocent person gets confused, maybe worried. Brenda, she got mad. Just trying to figure out where Tyler's paychecks went, I said. Both mailed, both gone. She shrugged. That's a post office problem. Maybe Tyler's misremembering. You know how he is. That stung. My son's memory is fine. Then she changed the subject. Speaking of issues, your grass is getting long. HOA rules require weekly mowing. And there it was, the veiled threat. Back off, or I'll make your life harder. I kept calm, but let her see I wasn't bluffing. If Tyler's mail goes missing again, I'm filing a police report. For a split second, she cracked. Real fear, then a brittle laugh. File whatever you want. Just be careful making accusations you can't back up. I have a reputation here. She closed the door, not quite a slam, but close. That night, I barely slept, running every scenario. Next day, I ran into George, old man down the block, widower, moves slow since his hip surgery. I asked if he'd ever lost mail. His eyes shifted toward Brenda's house. Last year. Social Security checks, twice. Caught her near my box early some mornings, but no proof. Police couldn't help, so I switched to direct deposit. He looked ashamed. Who'd believe me over her? But if you can stop her, don't let her hurt anyone else. That was it. I ordered a security camera, spent the night with my old badge in my hand, remembering all those years building cases, reading liars, knowing the look of a predator who thinks they're safe. Only this time, she'd picked my son, and I knew exactly how to catch her. When the camera arrived, I hid it high in the oak tree, clear view of the mailbox, street, and part of Brenda's driveway. Days passed. Nothing. Tyler came home smiling about work, asking about neighborhood watch programs. He still believed people were basically good. God, I wanted to keep it that way. Thursday, Savamart confirmed they mailed Tyler's September check. I waited, watching every movement. Friday night, Brenda walked past our mailbox, a little too interested, casing the joint. She hadn't stopped. She was just waiting. Tuesday afternoon, there it was, caught on camera. Brenda in a beige jacket, walks up, scans the street, opens our mailbox, pulls out envelopes, finds the Savamart one, tucks it in her jacket, and strolls back home like it's nothing. 93 seconds. I watched it over and over, heart pounding. I had her. Now it was about stopping her for good. I called Marcus Harris, old partner, now detective. Sent him the video. He whistled low. That's clean. Take it to patrol, but if you want more, build the pattern. Get the bank images. If it's not Tyler's signature, that's forgery, felony territory. And get other victims. Prosecutors love patterns. Bank confirmed the check cashed at a branch 30 miles away. Tyler's signature is all block letters. On the check, it's flowing cursive. Not even close. We filed fraud right there. Evidence was piling up. Dates, details, video, signatures. I emailed Brenda, civil but clear, Tyler's paycheck. Video evidence exists. We'll file police report within 24 hours unless resolved. She called, voice icy. These accusations are false. I told her straight. I have footage of you removing mail. Beige jacket, your face clear. Only one envelope taken. She switched from denial to justification in a heartbeat. Even if I picked up mail, I was going to bring it over. That's neighborly, not theft. When I pushed, she snapped. You're making an enemy of the wrong person. Next day, I canvassed the neighborhood. George, the schoolteacher, the young couple, suddenly stories poured out. Birthday cards gone, checks missing, cash never arriving. Fear and resignation in their eyes. Brenda had preyed on the vulnerable, old folks, disabled, the ones who'd least likely fight back. We set a meeting in my front yard, Brenda trying to pull me aside for privacy, but I held firm in public, neighbors nearby. I showed her the video, watched her cycle through shock, denial, fake outrage, finally half-confessing. I was just being helpful. Your son leaves it open. I forgot to deliver it. I laid out the forgery, the bank, the pattern, and called her bluff. Let's call the police right now. She actually called 911, tried to play the victim. The officers showed up, took statements. Murphy, the older one, watched the video, saw everything he needed. Ma'am, this is a federal offense. Brenda's composure crumbled. Harris arrived, took over, and just as he was cuffing Brenda, Rachel, the HOA secretary, came running across the street, trembling but resolute. There's more. Brenda's made me help her, sign papers, cover up discrepancies. I have proof. In Rachel's house, under her bed, was a box of discarded mail, documents, a ledger of names and amounts. Brenda had kept records of every theft. 20 names, $24,000 over 2 years. Real, undeniable evidence. Harris called in backup. In front of the whole street, Brenda was arrested, face ashen, neighbors silent but vindicated. After the chaos, Rachel asked if she'd done the right thing. You did the hardest thing. That makes it the right thing. Tyler, bless him, hugged her, thanking her for bravery. George shook her hand, voice thick. Don't let her hurt anyone else. It felt like a wall breaking, like the whole neighborhood was finally breathing again. The investigation expanded, dozens of victims, more stories, the DA prepping a bulletproof case. Brenda tried to intimidate from house arrest, even put her place up for sale, but she couldn't run. The trial was a whirlwind. 32 victims, video footage, Rachel's testimony about threats to her kids. Even Brenda's desperate confession at the HOA meeting sealed her fate. 7 years in prison, full restitution, banned from ever holding office again. Life moved on. Tyler got promoted. The new HOA board threw a barbecue. Neighbors laughing, finally at peace. George told me he wasn't afraid anymore. Rachel got a full-time job, stood a little taller. Brenda's house sat empty, a monument to what happens when power gets abused. But the story didn't end there. Old victims from out of state reached out. Turns out, Brenda had been running this scheme for over a decade, different neighborhoods, always preying on those least able to fight. Harris forwarded the info to other DAs. Maybe civil remedies, maybe more charges down the road. But for us, here, it was closure. One night, sitting with Tyler, hot chocolate in hand, he asked, "Dad, do you think Miss Brenda's sorry?" I told him, "I think she's sorry she got caught. I hope someday she's sorry for what she did." Tyler nodded. "I don't want to stay angry. It's too heavy." And just like that, I realized what all this was for. Not revenge, not even justice in the grand sense, but to make sure my son could live in a place where trust means something, where you stand up for what's right, no matter how hard it gets. So here's my question for you. What would you do if you caught a neighbor stealing, not just from you, but from the people who need help the most? Would you look away, or would you fight back? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me about the time you stood up for what mattered. Because sometimes, doing the right thing isn't just about catching the bad guy. It's about reminding everyone else that, yeah, justice is possible, even in a place like Meadowbrook Gardens.